All right, friends, what are we doing right here? So before we introduce the two new homework problems, we're going to take a look at the homework problems from yesterday. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is what is y? If y is 3 plus 8.5 times x, what is y when x is negative 4? So we put negative 4 into there. So now we have 8.5 times negative 4. And we know that 5 times 4 is 20. Put down the 0, carry the 2. And 8 times 4 is 32 plus 2 is 34. Okay? Move the decimal 1. Move the decimal 1. So we know it's 34. And since it was 8.5 times negative 4, it's a negative 34. And just remember that whenever we multiply and divide, a positive times a negative is a negative. And a negative times a positive is a negative. A positive times a positive is a positive. And a negative, in this case, or if you ever see a negative times a negative, they multiply to make a positive, and a negative divided by a negative, divide to make a positive. Okay? So now our sentence looks like 3 plus negative 34. And think about this. If we have a number line, and here's 0, and we started at 3, and then if we added negative 34, we're going to be way over here. And so we're going to be at negative 31. That was A. B, what is y if y equals x subtract 15? And now for this one, we're going to put 2.65 in for x. So we're going to have y equals 2.65 minus 15, or subtract 15. So think about this. Same thing, we're on a number line. We're going to start at 0. We start at 2.65, and we're going to take 15. So we know we're going to be somewhere in this negative zone over here. So I just went 15.00 subtract 2.65. Now, is my way always the right way? Nope. That's what's cool about this math. It's not so much that you do it the right way, it's that you reason how to come up with it. And I came up with 12.35, and we're in the negative zone. So negative 12.35. The next one looks like this. Y equals x minus 5 times x plus 2. And they said we want you to substitute 3 for the x. So that means that we're actually going to have 3 subtract 5 times 3 plus 2. Number line again, right? Here's 0. And we start at 3, and we're going to subtract 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 2. So this is negative 2 times, and then let's put 3 in for 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. So now we have negative 2 times 5. We know 5 times 2 is 10. We know negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. But right here, negative 2 times 5, negative 10. Negative 10 is a positive, is a negative. And then the last one. Noah helped me with this one. We had y plus 6.2 times x equals negative 16, or negative 13, and they said put negative 4 in for x. So we want 6.2 times negative 4. I've got 824. Move the decimal over once. Sorry. So now we got negative 24.8. So y plus negative 24 so y plus negative 24.8 equals negative 13. And what I did on mine, and you can think of this in a number of different ways, but you know it's got to be some kind of positive number over here, because we're going to start over here somewhere, and we're going to take 24 away, and we're going to wind up at negative 13. So what I did is I just added 24.8 to this side. So that got the y by itself. And then I added 24.8 to here. And then I said, well, negative 13 plus 24 times 24.8 is the same thing as 24.8 subtract 13. So I just subtracted that out of there. And I came up with 8 1, 1. Came up with positive 11.8. That makes sense, right? We're at 11.8. We take away 24, and then we're out here at negative 13. So this is problem, well, one of the problems. This is the other homework problem. One of Teddy's jobs at home is to pump gas for his family's sedan and truck. When he fills up with 12 gallons of gas, he notices that it costs him $50.28. So I thought about this ratio. I said, well, it costs $50.28 for 12 gallons. And then I said, well, if I divide that out, we'd get 1 gallon, right? So I went 50.28 divided by 12. And I said, okay, 12 goes into 50 4 times. There's my decimal. That's 48. 50 subtract 48 is 2. Bring down the 2. 12 goes into 22 1 time. Subtract 12. We got 10. Bring down the 8. And I know that 12 times 9 is 108. So that's the end of the problem. Nothing left over. So now we know that 1 gallon of gas is $4.19, and that's how we found our answer. I did it with long division, and I did it by finding a unit rate. Next, 419. What about 25? So if it's 419 for 1, we're just going to go 25 times 419. So I went 419 times 25. 5 times 9, 45. Put down the 5, carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. 5 times 4 is 20. Put down a 0 for the next row. 2 times 9 is 18. Put down the 8, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And then 2 times 4 is 8. Adding these up, 5, 17, carry the 1, 4, 10. We've got 2 decimal spots on the top, 1, 2, 2 on the bottom, $104.75. And then the last one, if Teddy filled up his tank on his moped, it cost $4 or $5.03. How much did his moped need? Or how much gas did it need? Well, I just took 503, right? And that's for 1 gallon, or for the moped. And then I'm like, well, it's 419 for 1 gallon, so I just divided those out. Okay. And then when I went 503 divided by 419, I went like this. And I moved the decimal over twice to here. And then I did the same over here. I moved it twice, 1, 2. So now we got 503 divided by 19. And I went, well, 419 can go into 503 1 time. So I subtracted out. Now, I can't go 3 subtract 9. So I want to borrow from here, but I can't borrow from a 0. So I borrowed from here, changed that to a 4, made that a 10. I borrowed from the 10, made that a 9, made that a 13. So now we've got 84, bring down a 0. And then how many times can 419 go into 840? And it's 2. And then I went, that's 838, 40 subtract, or 840 subtract 883 is 2. And bring down another 0. And I said, well, how many 419s can go into 20? That's 0. So I'm like, well, that's pretty good. We're going to call it $1.20. Or how much gas did he need? He needed 1.2 gallons. And I saw some people had like, different fractions, and it all worked out. So however you thought of that and worked it out, as long as you were somewhere around 1.2 gallons or 1 2/10 or 1 1/5, it all worked out. That's your homework, the stuff that we did yesterday. All right, let's get to the new homework.